everyone that did not want to believe the warning sign right before their eyes. Are you now going to acknowledge what the rest of us have realized? Yes, in Shane Dawson's podcast number 5, Shane has finally talked in detail about his close relationship with his co-host, cameraman Chris. And we will go over everything that they have to say. But let's get one thing straight right out the gate. All the excuses Shane is going to give us is going to go in one ear and right out the other. Why? Because I'm not going to let him change the narrative so easily, especially when we've already caught him red-handed. Today, as we go over the podcast, we're going to dissect the goings-ons of Shane, Ryland, Chris, and nothing else. Now, if you didn't know, my name is Jem, and I have never been a fan of Shane Dawson, and even though he's apologized, and I'm using air quotes, I don't think he's changed at all. And it's not because of what happened on this episode of the podcast, no, it's because of what happened the night before. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. On the last episode, I talked about emotional friends, and I want to say again, we are going to apply that term to Shane and Chris because they are what I call the perfect definition of emotional friends. And Ryland, if anything does go down between Shane and Chris, I don't want to hear you crying about how shocked you are. Not when it's happening right before your eyes, because believe me, most people never get as much of a warning as you're getting right now. So let us all take a look at the signs Ryan chooses to ignore.
Can you fold the hat?
Does the hat fit over? Oh no, this is... Oh no.
What if you were to fold the side?
I mean, you look good without it. You look good with it.
Shane is telling Chris he looks good with it or without it. Translation: you look good no matter what you do. Now, complimenting someone on their looks in front of your partner is not bad on its own, but believe me, I'm mounting my case.
Yeah,
Man,
that's
you
not,
went from a cowboy to a gay bartender, man.
that's not the vibe.
The hat's
Sorry,
not
Chris.
the
Here, Ryland is not going out of his way to make Chris feel good about himself. I mean, objectively, Ryland is right in that Chris needed to fix that hat and mic situation. Whereas Shane was concerned about Chris's feelings, Ryland is able to be blunt because he's not in an emotional friendship with Chris.
I just want my hat. I wish I could have it.
Wait, do we have another microphone anywhere?
Yeah.
I said last week, I was like, God, how are we going to outdo ourselves? I mean, the zebra jacket, the whole gay situation, the pride moment. How am I going to up the style game? And I said, we're going to Murdoch's, which is a country western Walmart. They have feed.
That's right.
They have
Yeah.
cowboy clothes.
Mm.
I can't stop. I need to stop. Oh my God, it's too much. And I was like, we're going to go full cowboy on this because why not?
Okay, hats off to Shane. He finally understands the assignment. He's bringing visuals to his podcast, and I'm all for it. Every other big YouTuber doing podcasts, please take notice. I need you guys to put a lot more effort into your podcasts.
So let's go around the room. Let's show what we have. Our microphones are kind of covering a lot of the goods.
Yeah.
Like if you look, I got myself a nice little turquoise necklace or tie. And Chris, I don't even know if we need to explain what you're wearing, but you can go ahead.
It's just my regular everyday attire.
That's what you arrived in.
I got here a gold bull because I like to take the bull by the horns. Is that even the expression?
I like to take the bear by the ears.
And another one. Now this is what we call an innuendo. Chris makes an innocent comment, and Shane twists it into a sexual one. As we know, the term bear in the gay community is used for heavier set men displaying rugged masculinity, and Chris has not shied away from saying that he finds bears attractive. So Shane turns the innocuous bull analogy into a sexually suggestive hint. And of course, this all goes right over Ryland's head. That's probably part of the fun for Shane. It's all out in the open, and Ryland isn't wise to the situation.
But I'm also a homosexualist, so I have these here.
Suspenders.
Just jump right into the drama.
Which one? The long journey to get here? This is a 3-day setup. Let us know if you like the setup. Oh my gosh.
Yes, okay. Well, okay, first of all, The boys arrived a couple days ago. And then last night we set up and we decided to take a break and just have a drink or two, and shit got crazy.
That's the understatement of the year. Listen to what happens next.
Oh, yeah.
After that, we decided, let's try to record a podcast. And it didn't happen. And we ended up, having a couple drinks. And then things got really crazy. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. Like, I was going through my phone this morning and I don't even remember taking these. I saw pictures of Chris on the ground in my kitchen, like really contemplating life. It was nuts.
Now, I'm going to blur these pictures because I'm going to give Chris more respect than Shane displayed to him that night. All right, so I'm doing this to protect Chris just in case he might want to get another job in the future and his new employer Googles his name. We hear Shane explain that he drank so much he doesn't remember what happened. But here you see that he was able to get perfect shots. You see, Shane is trying to get out of his wrongdoing by adding that he was drunk at the time, since he says he doesn't remember taking the pictures, but that excuse does not exonerate you, Shane. Okay, and everyone listening, in case you didn't know, if your friend's first instinct is to take pictures of you in compromising positions when you're not coherent, that's not a friend who's out for your best interest. Especially when said friend also uploads the picture to YouTube for millions of people to see. And notice that out of everyone who got wasted that night, Chris the cameraman is the only one who had a pic posted. And Chris, if this is how you're going to live your life, I hope you're getting more than just cameraman fees. It better be worth it because this is only the beginning.
And Ryland, you got into it.
Well, I haven't smoked pot in years.
Well, wait, are we going there? We're talking about what we really did.
I really don't smoke. Only a very special occasion. Obviously, smoking with Chris and Ryland seemed like an amazing opportunity, a celebration.
Mm-hmm.
So I did my little thing. I rolled a little something up, and we took some puffs. And then next thing I know, Chris is using Ready Whip as a chip dip. It was possibly the most stoner thing
Laugh it up, Chris, as they single you out.
I believe I've been in the game for a long time. I've seen a lot of shit. But watching a man scarf down half a tube of Pringles and using Ready Whip to eat every single one was a fucking sight to see.
It was, how are you feeling today, Chris?
Terrible.
I don't know.
Listen, I get that everyone's trying to be entertaining. Believe me, I get it. But take away the nervous laughter from Chris, and he's telling everyone how terrible he feels after smoking. So much so that he collapsed on the kitchen floor, and they all just laugh it off.
You keep doing this thing where every time you laugh, you like move away from the microphone.
I hate my laugh.
Well, no,
so
I thought you got over
instinctively,
that.
I'm like, pull away from them.
No, we love your laugh.
It's also
Very
loud.
Sunday.
I didn't smoke because I just don't smoke, so I drank instead.
Notice that Shane says he doesn't smoke, so he didn't smoke that night. Everyone hear that? Now listen to this.
Chris did both.
Shane now calls out Chris for smoking and drinking, which would explain how Chris got into the position he was in.
And
It's
But
what
for
we
the
call
record-
getting cross-faded.
For the record, I never smoke. Like I don't like, and it never ends well. Like I always think it'll be fun the next time.
Chris, for the record, the question is, if you don't smoke because it never goes well, pray tell me, why did you choose a business trip to do it? No, tell me, I'm waiting. 'Cause Chris, I don't know how old you are, but I can tell you're not still in high school. Don't you dare tell me you got peer pressured into smoking when it's something you don't do according to you. Now, I know Shane is your boss, and we'll get to Shane later, but Colorado is still America, and your boss cannot force you to do anything outside of your job description. Never mind telling you to go smoke up. So why did you do it? Now, anyone, if you live in a country that has workers' rights, don't ever think a boss offering you mind-altering drugs is going to stop at just that. Nope. 9 times out of 10, it's leading to something.
Did it not end well last night?
I think we had a good time.
There was fun, but I always just feel like shit the next day.
Well,
It's interesting that Chris described his experience as horrible and everyone else is dumbfounded and thought he was having fun. Do you see the disconnect here? Chris is on the kitchen floor like Trisha Paytas and everyone thinks it's for funsies, like Trisha Paytas. So if your friends can't even recognize you're in distress when the signs are crystal clear, I don't know what else to tell you.
That's probably because me and Chris postmated Taco Bell, and I think we ate 12 tacos.
I took
Oh,
a
that's
picture
normal for me.
of what went on last.
Chris said, "Oh, that's normal for me," making it clear that the Taco Bell did not make him sick. It was whatever it was they gave him to smoke.
Night. I went over to my family today because I was helping my brother move all day long, and they were like, "What did you do last night?" I was like, got really stoned, and they ordered like the whole store of Taco Bell, and I took a photo of us sitting up.
Right now, I'm only going by what Ryland just said, okay? He said he had to get up early to go to his family's house. So I'm guessing by the way he said that Shane didn't go with him, which means Ryland left Shane and Chris together. We'll get back to this later.
Here's how the Pringle thing happened. So I put together some segments for the show. One of them was going to be weird food combinations because I was like, oh, that'll be fun. And, we could try some weird food combinations. One of them was going to be Pringles and Ready Whip. And at some point in the night, I literally forgot that was for the podcast. And I was like, Chris, try the Pringles with the Ready Whip. And then you tried it. And then you ate like the whole can and the whole bottle of Ready Whip.
What's going on, Chris? Tell me, why are you the only one? It doesn't end there.
And not only that, then I started hand feeding you the tuna Hawaiian punch mixture that I made.
Are we doing a weird food combos on the podcast
Chris
today?
ate all of it.
Well, no, I still want to try some of the things.
We have photo proof of it.
Yeah.
No, but the tuna was bad.
Yeah, so that was a tuna salad mixed with Hawaiian punch, and then I was supposed to put it on bread for you, and instead I just I think I used my fingers.
Ew!
I mean, Ryland, you were there that night. You didn't see it as it happened? And the only reason why Ryland is saying ew, he finds it ew because Shane hand-fed someone else. He wouldn't have said ew if Shane did it to him.
Ugh.
Okay, I didn't know what was happening. Shane's like, close your eyes, try this. I'm like, wait, what? No, close your eyes. You can't. And you also were like, no, keep your eyes closed. And I was like, why? And I was like opening my mouth. I'm like, oh God.
Shane asked Chris to close his eyes, and like the obedient employee he is, he does it. And how does Shane repay his cameraman for trusting him so blindly? He feeds him something disgusting. Please note that whenever Shane has an opportunity to take advantage of someone, he'll do it. And you can't even say it was for YouTube because this was away from the podcast. Chris, show me in your job description where you're supposed to close your eyes and open your mouth. You're lucky that tuna was the only thing Shane decided to put in your mouth.
And I was very gone.
I'm interpreting Chris saying he was gone was because of what he smoked. Notice that nobody ganged up on Jared, no one teamed up on Shane or Ryland. Out of everyone there, who did they pick? That's right, they picked you, Chris.
And just imagining weird, for some reason I imagine frogs covered in liquid coming to my mouth, just weird things in my high brain. And by the time it got to my mouth, I was already ready to throw up because of the things I was imagining. But then the flavor of it was the sweetness of the punch or whatever it was with the tuna, made the tuna so much more bitter and gross.
Okay, well,
I have some left.
and
Ryland, do you
we
want
have
that?
to-
I literally thought I was going to throw up.
I also, and you know what? You didn't throw up, and that's because you're a champion partner.
And that's all you get for your efforts, Chris. Remember that the next time they ask you to do something not in your job description.
But also not helping the rumors that me and you were fucking, right? Can we talk about that for a second? We'll get back to weird food combinations.
Sure.
But Chris came to me yesterday.
I wonder why.
You're not helping.
Chris
I'm
came
not
to me
helping.
yesterday.
Every fucking podcast, you guys are flirting up a storm.
To the small minority saying I'm reaching with my theories, let's make it clear. If Shane was flirting with Chris and Ryland was laughing about it, I wouldn't care one bit. It's the fact that Shane is flirting with Chris and Ryland is objecting to it.
Chris
I'm
came
not
to me
helping.
yesterday.
Every fucking podcast, you guys are flirting up a storm.
That's why I'm pointing out what's going on, while all of his regular viewers are laughing as if it's a joke. Now, it may be funny to his viewers, but it's not a joke. All of us over here on this channel, we know that a lot of jokes come from truth. And let's make another thing clear. While Chris may have been a bystander in the early beginnings of Shane's flirtation, he's no longer a bystander. It has been affecting Chris more than even he realizes.
You guys, what have I ever?
First of all, okay, I'm not the what's a word that's not predator? Something that's less crazy than perpetrator?
Aggressor? I didn't mean to put the blame
I'm
on
not
you.
the aggressor here. Whoa, that's worse.
That sounds like the worst thing you could say.
No, here's the thing. Me and Chris have natural chemistry. I'm not.
Again, you see how Ryland objects? Okay, I have a question. Do people not take this seriously because Shane and Ryland are gay? Because make this any other YouTube couple. Okay, here, imagine this, okay? H3 After Dark. Imagine Ethan rolling his eyes and taking quick verbal jabs at Ela, and in the next breath, Ethan tells Olivia to close her eyes and open her mouth. What? Oh, now you're outraged? So tell me, what's the difference? Now, of course, I'm not talking to the majority of people listening to my videos, because even though your voice can't be heard, I know most of you all are talking through me. We all see what's going on. And just an aside, I am not a part of the LGBTQ plus community, so if there's something going on in gay relationships that I am completely missing, just let me know in the comments. Because the way I approach situations is that I believe we all have emotions. We all experience happiness, sadness, anger, love. Now, the way we express those emotions may be different because of our sex, culture, environment, nationality. Yes, all of that is true. But we all still have these emotions. So, again, if there's something I'm missing about the gay community, please let me know. Because right now, Ryland is experiencing jealousy. And with good reason.
Wow, good job, yo.
I'm not saying sexual chemistry. I'm saying chemistry.
You gotta specify.
Besides my brother, you're the one I've known the longest. Yeah. Sorry, Ryland.
So here goes Shane showing us a picture of him and Chris together many years ago. He says that he's known Chris the longest. So, just because I've known you the longest doesn't mean I know you. Okay, everybody listening right now, I have a question for you. I want you to think about a friend that's your closest to, your closest friend. Think about that person. Okay, now I have another question. What is their background? Okay, so I'm going to take a guess and say because they're your close friends, you're able to answer that question, right? It should be an easy question. Okay, so watch this.
Podcast. Yes. Oh my god, you know what I just realized? You're Christopher Robin. Look behind you, baby. And you're Mexican. Is that? And you're Mexican.
I'm gay. Diverse representation. Straight, bi, gay. Honestly,
Mexican?
the gay is leading the pack. Well, Peruvian.
You're Peruvian?
I'm Peruvian. I'm
my
Peruvian
God.
and German.
Wow,
Yeah.
work.
So Shane, you can miss me with saying you've known Chris longer. You don't know that man.
I don't know who this man is. I mean, he could be walking down the street. I wouldn't know a thing.
You don't know that man if you thought he was a whole Mexican and found out the same time we did that he's half Peruvian and half German.
Sorry to this man.
You don't know that man. And don't tell me Chris never mentioned his background when this guy is over here waving flags and such.
Okay.
German flag.
Uh-huh. 9.
Peruvian flag.
Okay.
Okay. American flag.
Okay, good
Because these
job.
are all the things I am. And a gay. See, I was like, I'm going to get just this. And then I'm like, no, but I have to get the Barry one. But then I'm like, but I'm also Peruvian. And then like, but I am German. And I'm proud to be American.
He's obviously proud of his heritage. I don't care how long you've known Chris Shane, something has obviously changed because you're getting to know him now, that's for sure, yeah. But your relationship wasn't always as close as it is now. So this development and nurturing and growing of a friendship is recent.
But also, me and you are very similar. We both have similar mental health issues
Yeah.
and similar zodiacs. And I just love you and I care
You
for
guys
you.
go out.
You all, this is textbook emotional friends. We're gonna have to talk about more of this in the future, but this is it right here happening before our eyes.
Care
You
for
guys go outside in the corner and talk for hours. I'll be inside doing my own thing.
Recreate a Brokeback Mountain. Real
Yes,
quick.
barebacking. Whoa, that's you.
Shane's right about this one. There's a reason Shane is acting shocked right now, because this is the first time Chris has responded in kind after all these weeks of Shane flirting with him. Go back and watch the first episode and tell me if you ever thought Chris would have now been responding to Shane in this way.
Recreate a Brokeback Mountain. Real
Yes.
quick.
He always used to laugh it off, uncomfortably. Now he's clearly making those same flirtatious jokes back. I'll remind you that Chris's boyfriend was uneasy, and Chris made it clear that there was nothing for his boyfriend to be worried about.
So that's why your boyfriend is nervous. Right?
Yeah, dude, this started off. I got all kinds of dudes sliding in the DMs,
Yeah.
telling me nice things.
So now I guess your boyfriend assumed, and he saw you today, right? Dressed up, haircut, and he saw you walk in here and he was like, are you trying to find someone else? Like, what are you doing?
I think he was joking, but he saw me dressed up and my hair done. He was like, "Are you trying to find another chunky guy? Are you trying to replace me with another chunky guy?
Are you on
Why-
the chase right
He's
now,
like,
dude?
where are you going? Why are you dressed up?" And I'm like, "Oh, my mom said to do my hair. That's it, I swear."
And here we are, weeks later, and Chris not only joked, but made a clear and direct sexual retort that even left Shane shocked.
Recreate a Brokeback Mountain. Real
Yes,
quick.
barebacking. Whoa, that's you.
You may wonder how we got to this point, and you'll find out shortly.
I didn't say have fucking sex. I said go talk about your emotions.
Oh,
I see.
Keep what Ryland just said in mind as we go forward. He meant it as a flippant remark, not knowing that he's only pushing these two closer together.
I didn't say have fucking sex. I said go talk about your emotions.
Oh,
I see.
Oh, right.
Same for us, baby.
Right.
Same for us, baby.
Right.
Same for us, baby.
Right.
No, here's the thing. We have natural chemistry. I love Chris so much. I would never fuck Chris. He would never fuck me, right?
Have you all heard the term playing in my face? Because this is what Shane is doing right now. He's playing all in Ryland's face. Shane is insulting Ryland in plain sight, and Ryland can't see what's going on. Now, a part of me likes Ryland. He has a natural confidence. You're either born with it or you're not, but it can be taught. However, Ryland, even with your God-given confidence, it can be chipped away. So that's Shane, jokingly but seriously asking Chris if he's attracted to him. Remember, Shane knows Chris likes bears, and Shane fancies himself a bear, but he still needs to get the all clear from Chris, who is in a relationship, which may be better to Shane if he wants something secret for now. You think I'm going too far? Well, let's see if you're right.
Throwing out here. Just asking. No, but Chris came to me and he goes, oh my God, you want to hear something funny?
So the story goes that Chris is the one who brought the topic of cheating up to Shane. And the way he introduces it is to say that it's something funny. Now, we know Chris's humor comes from insecurity with the nervous laugh, but I wonder why he brought the topic of cheating videos to Shane's attention, if Shane wasn't aware of it. Now, I could think that Chris brought it up in a roundabout way to cut the flirtatious talk on the podcast, but now I'm not sure. Now I think he brought it up for different reasons.
And I forgot who it was, but somebody in your family, right? Like actually thinks that you're cheating on your boyfriend with me. And I was like, that's not funny. That's scary. What are we doing?
So Shane rightly says that cheating is not funny, but he follows it up with, what are we doing? Okay.
Well, shout out to Cassette. She sent me a video. She's like my cousin. Not really. It's like, you know, like if you're, do you know? Like that Latino thing where you're like, this person's my uncle because they've been around forever.
Yeah, let's get back to that name real quick.
Who's the other one? Compact disc?
Anyways.
I love how Chris is asking 3 people from a different culture than him if they know what a play cousin is. That's what we call it. Chris is trying to explain the term to his co-host and they immediately talk over him. Chris, the day that Shane found out your Latin side had nothing to do with Mexico is the day Shane stopped caring about it. You notice how that Peruvian segment quickly turned into a German segment?
Let's jump into it. All right.
Chris is cool, he's from Peru. His Peruvian facts are fun for me and you.
Okay, Chris, I have a surprise.
Okay.
I know that you think we're about to do Peruvian facts.
Okay.
But we're actually going to take a break from Peruvian facts for a week.
Okay.
And focus on the other side of your heritage.
He's half German, he's so bright, he's a factual delight. Are you ready for some fun? German facts with Chris.
Is that the
I told you all before to watch out for that segment, and I still want you to watch. I wanted to go a little longer before I tell you what's going on there.
Sorry for mentioning you. No, but she texted me a video from like a drama channel, and she's like, "People are talking about you," and I was like, "What do you mean?"
Now, some people think that this conversation had to do with my series, but there's no way Cassette could be talking about little old me because 1, I'm not a drama channel, and 2, I've never said Shane and Chris are cheating. Because what I've said in the beginning is the same thing I'm saying now. Shane is flirting with Chris and Ryland doesn't like it. And recently now I've been saying that they are emotional friends, and that comes with a lot of stuff to unpack, but I never said they were sleeping with each other. Also, I'm pretty sure Shane made those thumbnails himself, and it didn't come from any drama channels, so if anything, he's the one who's starting those rumors. It's clever how he does it too. Instead of talking about the actual issue many people have, him flirting with Chris on the podcast, he instead makes it that people are saying that he's cheating. Classic straw man argument. But if someone did say they're cheating, it wasn't me.
What does that mean? And I got
Chris,
really
you gotta
stressed.
block all those channels so they don't come in your ether.
I just assumed no one would ever talk about me, like, because you guys are
sorry.
the show in my mind.
Right.
But anyways, I'm still like in my mind, I'm the camera guy. You know what I mean?
I hope that's not what your pay stub says, Chris, because right now you're a co-host and you should be paid accordingly. Don't let Shane milk you dry with nothing to show for it.
So, So yeah, I saw the video and they were like, "Oh, like Shane and Chris clearly have slept with each other, and like this is why, like because of the way that they look at each other, the way Ryland reacts because of this thing, and it was all these things, and I was almost convinced by the end of it."
See, he's not talking about me, y'all. Not talking about me. We've been over here minding our BI business, and our business is watching them.
And I was almost convinced by the end of it.
But Chris saying that he was convinced by what the drama channel said means a lot. Listen again to what he said.
Chris clearly have slept with each other, and like this is why, like because of the way that they look at each other, the way Ryland reacts because of this thing, and it was all these things, and I was almost convinced by the end of it.
He said the way Ryland reacted is what convinced him. Now, I will admit, commenting on Ryland's reaction, this is my thing. All right, this is what we're doing over here. I do talk about how Ryland reacts to Shane's flirting. Now, Chris watched this supposed channel and said that he was almost convinced. He's not convinced of the cheating because, according to him, he hasn't cheated. But what I think he admitted was that he was convinced of Ryland's reaction. Ryland, if Chris has watched my videos, he's seen there's blood in the water, which is why he's been attacking in this podcast. That blood, Ryland, is your insecurity. That's why Chris has been attacking in this podcast episode.
And what kind of relationship do they think I have with you? We're just like open?
Yeah, they probably think that you're like fucking somebody way more attractive than
they were
me.
saying.
One of my brilliant commenters pointed out to me, so please you all leave your comments down below. I read a lot of them, okay? So if you see anything I'm missing, please let me know. So this commenter mentioned that Shane feels that Ryland is not attracted to him physically. And this scene right here says it loud and clear. Shane's words were supposed to be a layup for Ryland.
Yeah, they probably think that you're like fucking somebody way more attractive than
They were
me.
saying.
Shane says matter-of-factly that Ryland doesn't find him attractive, and Ryland was supposed to say something akin to, "What do you mean, Shane? There is nobody more attractive to me than you." But that didn't happen.
You're like hurt and like upset by it, and you bring it out.
I love being the victim.
Keep sticking your head in the sand and you'll get your reality. Watch this.
Finally, we've been waiting.
Nice.
But it's not true at all. Like there's zero. I feel like there's nothing.
I don't believe you.
Chris says there's nothing, and then he stopped himself because even he couldn't finish his sentence. And then Shane says he doesn't believe Chris because he doesn't. In his mind, he believes Chris is attracted to him and he will take any action Chris has towards him as the confirmation he needs. Chris, you closing your eyes and opening your mouth was confirmation for Shane.
Try again.
Watch if you guys if it ever comes out that you guys have done something together. Wow, it's gonna be explosive.
I think whatever happened in Colorado is giving Ryland second thoughts. So Ryland said if they ever cheated, it would be explosive. Chris, do not think Ryland will go down without a fight. Nope. Let's just say, for argument's sake, that Chris and Shane cheated and Ryland found out. In the end, Ryland would side with Shane, and Chris, you would be made the villain. Nobody likes a homewrecker, Chris. I warned you in the first episode that if you keep the course, this will end badly for you. Whatever fantasies you have growing in your head because of Shane's constant flirtation will never be reality.
Tune in next week. No, here's why I like it. And I told you, Chris, I was like, listen, this is a good thing, right? Because I feel like every successful talk show, there's always a rumor that the co-hosts are fucking. Like, you know, Kelly and Michael, or, you know, the women on The View. Like, there's always a rumor that they're all fucking behind the scenes.
What is Shane talking about right now? I don't watch those shows, but I doubt people are watching The View for Joy and Whoopi's chemistry. He should have used better examples because Laura Lee and Manu MUA are fun to watch because they're best friends. I'm sure the audience loves their chemistry. Frenemies was fun for me to watch, and nobody was watching for Ethan and Trisha just to spread cheating rumors. I never heard that between those two. And let's just take Ryland and his co-host Liz. Again, they're best friends, and people watch, I guess, because they like their banter. I don't know. I don't watch it. So why does Shane think people like to see a man cheat on his partner? Nobody likes to see that, especially when the partner is sitting right there. Shane's mind is twisted for no reason, because let's just say that's why people are watching that. People are watching because they want that sexual chemistry and cheating between Shane and Chris, so they're playing it up. All I have to ask Shane is, you're telling me that 1 million views per episode is worth you disrespecting Ryland? Again, I say, imagine if Ethan Klein was acting like this toward Ela. There would be riots in the streets.
And I feel like it's good that people think we're fucking. Now, if people thought that Jared and Ryland were fucking, then we got a hit, baby.
Something about Shane offering up Ryland to his brother doesn't sit right with me. The reason I say this is I've always thought Shane is the type that would think there's nothing wrong with him cheating, but if Ryland were to cheat, it would be the end of the world. So for me to hear him jokingly pass Ryland off to his brother, it doesn't bode well for you, Ryland. Again, imagine Ethan telling Ela to go sleep with Ian for the goofs and the gags it will bring. Never gonna happen.
Whoa. We know we're doing something right.
No, me and Chris are not fucking yet. No, I'm just kidding. It's not happening.
And Shane just couldn't resist saying that it may happen while saying he's just joking, of course.
Okay, wait. Before we get into everything else, I want to know about you guys' trip. How was it? You came...
The room is getting too hot for Ryland. Ryland, don't let Chris see you sweat. Okay, now let me just show you all this.
I hate my feet. My boyfriend says I have jungle feet because they have super high arches, and he's like, they're meant to climb a tree.
What?
That's what
jungle
he says.
feet?
Wow.
Chris, you can't say something like that and not show us your feet.
This is a little crazy, but
I can't see it.
Are you ready for the arch? Look at this. Look at that.
I can't see it.
insane Do you see the arch?
Like an old lady demon. Wait, that sounds mean. I didn't mean it mean. But you know what I mean? Like in a movie where there's an old lady demon who's hovering and her feet are curved.
No,
I'll put my
that
foot
ain't
away
mean at all. Looks like
I would lick them.
dude. Looks like you're wearing.
And that's that. Now watch this.
You want to know your wiki feet rating, Shane?
I don't think my wiki feet rating is even accurate because there's so many people that hate me.
You got a 2.5 at least, dude.
Thank you.
Well, it is a thing where people team up and go rate you bad feet. They go.
Wow.
Okay, I'm scrolling up.
Okay, wait, Chris, you didn't guess.
Oh.
What do you think my feet are?
I think you have nice feet, but I don't think that's what it's going to be based off of. The score?
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
1 out of 5.
3.
1.66.
Chris. Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry.
Have you always been wearing that?
I just put the hat on for the next segment. Does it look stupid? It's really big, right?
I like it.
Is it too big?
No, it looks great.
You got a big noggin. Just saying. We were looking all over that store.
Chris complimented Shane on his look, and Ryland insulted Shane, sort of mirroring what happened earlier in the show. These little things can become big excuses Shane will use to justify cheating. Ryland makes fun of how I look, but Chris always compliments me. You know, stuff like that. And look what happens next when the topic of positions in the bedroom comes up.
Chris. It's called milking. Chris. Oh, never mind.
What?
You can't ask somebody's position like that.
You see, even though Ryland objected to the question, right? He objected. Watch what happens.
I wasn't going to ask that. I was going to
if I'm
say
a top or a bottom?
no. I will.
Both. Continue.
I like how
Y'all, Shane just died and was surprised he made it to heaven. Look at that face. That is what you call pleasantly surprised. Yo, Chris is off the hook this episode, overstepping his bounds all over the place. And let me add again, this is Chris, the guy who doesn't like cheaters. No way the guy we met first episode should be as bold as he is now on the 5th episode. This is all the result of the joking Shane has been doing. Now imagine, sorry H3, sorry, I have to use you guys again. But imagine Ethan asking Olivia that same question and Ela objects, but Olivia answers the question anyway. And in the same tone Chris did.
I was going to
if I'm
say
a top or a bottom?
no. I will.
Both.
Imagine Olivia doing that. Exactly. There would be riots in the streets.
If I'm a top or a bottom?
No. I will.
Both. Continue.
I like how
Chris just gave Shane more ammo for his fantasies. The guys go on to discuss the topic of anxiety, and here is when we see the dangers of emotional friends. Now look to see what happens when Ryland tries to bond with Shane over anxiety.
My anxiety is, I think I have like multiple versions of anxiety. Like I have body.
No, I agree. I'm agreeing. I do too. I have like overt and covert anxiety.
Oh, I thought you were making fun of me.
No, I was
Sorry.
agreeing.
I judged you.
Isn't it interesting that Ryland's understanding of Shane's anxiety is perceived by him to be mocking? Shane and Ryland are in a relationship, and when the topic of emotions come up, they aren't naturally gelling as one would think they should. But that is not necessarily bad on its own. Well, not until this.
No, thank you. Yes, because I mean, I thought you were laughing at me because I do have a lot of different versions of anxiety. I have body anxiety. I have OCD, which also gives me anxiety because it fills my head with just intrusive thoughts that kind of, depending on how anxious I am that day. Chris, sweetie.
Well, Chris
Anxiety
dropped a bomb
sister.
last night that you were saying you're always anxious.
Yeah, I'm different levels of anxious. I'm like an anxious that I can tolerate, like right now. Or I'm an anxious where I'm like, oh, I can't handle anything anymore. But Shane, you actually said something that helped me. I had an anxiety attack after the last podcast. And I was sitting there and I remembered you talking about like feeling like thinking of like your fingertips and focusing on your fingertips and the sensation of like feeling that, and then like your nose and your eyes and your feet and your whatever. And like I started doing that, and it kind of helped.
Really?
So I just wanted to say, like,
Oh,
you
good.
gave a really good piece of advice for anyone that heard that. You can probably explain it better than I did.
See, now this could explain Chris's boldness this episode and the reason he's flirting back with Shane all of a sudden. The advice Shane gave him for his anxiety worked, and he's looking at Shane as someone who's not only helped him financially, but now mentally.
But
We were proctologists. It's a butt doctor, which I've been to
Ooh,
before,
wow.
and I ripped my butt. You
Fissure.
can do that. It's called a fissure.
you had a fissure? I've had a fissure.
It's getting deeper, y'all.
Is that a cancer thing?
I think it is. I'm afraid of medication too. Like
Okay.
when it comes to antidepressants, because I'm pretty sure I have clinical depression. Like I think it's one of those things that I've had my whole life, and I can get out of bed and stuff. So I've always been like, well, it's not that bad. But it is one of those things where I do fight to. This is dark. I do fight to feel like, what's the point? And like, I don't want to do anything. I don't care about anything. Like I have days like that a lot. And it's
But
really hard.
Much better over. And I was with therapy. Honestly, I have seen you transform over years with therapy in regards to this without medication, because you have had reservations with.
Yeah.
What we see here is Ryland missing the assignment. These two, Shane and Chris, want to bond over their mental health issues. They want to be stuck in it, to hug and cry over it. Ryland, on the other hand, wants to get to the conclusion, the light at the end of the tunnel, by saying, hey Shane, you are much better now than you were before. Let's see how that goes over with this crowd.
I still think I probably need to experiment with some medication. Just keeping it real, because it is one of those things where therapy helps, but yeah, I think there's probably a chemical imbalance I need to figure out. But I have anxiety about that too, because I'm like, well, what if it numbs me out? What if this and what if that?
There goes Shane, falling back into the tunnel with Chris.
And then I know people that are on antidepressants, and they're like, no, it's great, changed my life, but I still do have anxiety about it. It's scary, so I understand that.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that helps me is just like reminding myself, especially when it feels like a heart attack specifically, that it's not that. Like just confidently telling myself, I know, like body and brain, like you are telling me we're having a heart attack, but I'm positive that it's not. I'm positive it's not that. You're wrong, body.
Mm-hmm.
And after just like telling myself, like, I promise you we're okay. Like that sounds crazy. Like I'm talking to two people.
No, it doesn't.
But I'm like, I promise you, like you're okay. It's not a heart attack, whatever. After a while, my body's like, you sure? I'm pretty sure it's a heart attack. I'm like, no, body, it's not. It's like, are you sure though? And I'm like, yeah. And then after a while, it's like, okay, all right, maybe you're right. And sometimes that helps me, just like telling myself, because anxiety's not like, it's not like a you know what I mean? It's like in your head, kind of.
I honestly feel whenever I'm actively working out and eating healthy and sleeping enough, I'm like pretty good.
Now Chris and Shane bond some more over their issues, and Ryland tries to hop in the mix.
And then when I'm not doing those things, I'm unrisked.
See, okay, but here's a difference, and not to anxiety shame you. The reason you're able to do all those things is because you don't suffer too much from anxiety. Because like for me, like I wish I could do all those things on a regular basis and feel better, but my anxiety keeps me from doing them. Like I want to eat healthy and eat the right amount of meals and eat the right amount of calories and all that stuff. But my weight anxiety keeps me from doing that, because I'm like, no, I can't eat that much because I'm getting fat, or, oh, whatever. So it's like, then I don't eat right. And then, working out, I'm like, oh, I need to work out right now because I'm getting fat, whatever. It's like that anxiety. So then I work out too hard and then I hurt myself. It's almost like this anxiety cripples all those things that you should be able to do to stay.
To help. Yeah. Yeah, because even for Shane, a lot of times he does not get the same result from working out. Because more than for my body, like I go to yoga because the way it makes me feel. Like if I'm having the worst day ever, I can have a full.
I know y'all see the ring. First time I seen it all night. And of course it comes up in the middle of Shane and Chris bonding session.
180 reset and mindset on my day, and I'm like, just go out and walk, just go do physical movement. And then he shuts down. He hates it so much that it does the opposite effect on him.
Ryland is showing that even after all this time, he does not get Shane, and Chris is showing that he totally gets Shane. Now watch as Chris and Shane have their little moment together while Ryland is on an island all by himself.
But Shane also suffers from depression as well as anxiety, which are different things, and both of those together are like really tough to deal with. I also suffer from both of those things.
Right.
Clinically depressed, and my therapist has diagnosed me, whatever. It's like that's the thing. You don't have the not being able to get out of bed, but I have that sometimes where like truly, and it just sounds like an annoying, lazy. Like if I heard someone being like, "Oh, I just can't get out of bed because of my depression," like that would sound so frustrating, but. It like truly you can't sometimes, and it's tough because it's an imbalance, right? Depression's an imbalance in your brain. Like.
Because Shane and Chris are in other relationships, it's not hard to imagine a scenario where they may cheat but keep it hidden because they don't want to break up with their respective partners. Now, for that to happen, they have to be okay with keeping a secret and good at keeping it secret between only them. You don't think it's possible? Ryland, let me show you how it's possible. So here they go into their conspiracy segment, and they're talking about the Mandela effect of the song Don't Break My Heart. So they play a video, and Chris, Shane, and Jared all are acting surprised. But watch what happens next.
Listen, kid, I'm kind of working here. Don't break my heart, my itchy twitchy heart, my herky jerky heart.
Dude, that's all the proof I need.
Are you not? Wait, why aren't you shook?
What?
You don't remember the name.
He is so shook.
No, I
he
do.
doesn't even know how to
It was
react.
not "Don't Break My Heart." What was it? It was
Tell.
Don't
tell my.
Supposedly, Don't Tell My Heart.
Yes,
and Billy Ray, who is the writer and singer of that hit song, literally said,
Don't break my heart, my itchy twitchy heart.
He went on the biggest platform in media, Hannah Montana, and put.
"Why
that
are
out
you?
as
How
lyrics.
are you not shook by this?" I screamed when I saw this. Somebody sent me this and said,
It's
"Oh my
crazy.
God, it's crazy, right?"
Yeah.
Literally.
We need to get like the Richter scale for earthquakes.
Yes.
You know, it's like this is a 5.2.
Like a shook.
Like this is the Richter scale or something like that.
Yes.
Dude, I'm at like an 8.5.
Oh, I'm at a
This
horse though right now.
This shit is end of the world to me type stuff.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Your face didn't tell me that.
Well, okay, look, can we be honest?
Yeah.
What?
While we were really drunk and while they were really high, we watched this clip last night.
We couldn't win.
I needed your reaction. That's why I'm so mad.
You couldn't wait.
Because last night, well, I
was drunk.
gone. And I was like, oh my God, you guys, this Mandela effect. And I was like, I shouldn't show you. I shouldn't show you. And then I showed them and I'm like, you have to pretend you haven't seen it. So then we watched it last night. We were screaming in the
So
kitchen.
I'm being pranked, and that's why all the pressure is on me. And I think this is like a 2 out of 10.
Ryland, you were in the same house and didn't know what these guys were up to. I mentioned earlier Ryland helping his family to move and leaving Shane and Chris together. All this tells me is that before this podcast aired, Ryland had no qualms about leaving Shane and Chris together. It seems he really did not think anything was going on or could go on. But I bet you after this podcast was filmed, everything changed. So I was wondering, why would Ryland feel so comfortable leaving these two alone without a care in the world? But I'll tell you next episode because this episode is getting way too long. But Shane, from now on, the fact that he found out you two kept a secret from him, oh, he's going to be watching you like a hawk. Ryland then does his recap at the end of the show, and then this happens.
What other bombshells did we have?
We talked about our relationship.
Oh.
On the rocks. I'm doing
What's
it again.
the
I'm doing it
segment called again? And Shane and Ryland have their biggest blowout yet. You're not going to want to miss it because are they going to make it? We don't know. Shane alludes to an affair
This
with
is a
Chris.
dark recap.
Yeah,
Hey,
whoa.
hey,
We're canceled. You might be out of this relationship.
I mean the drama.
We're
The drama.
You're so good. I'm sorry. You're
Okay.
so good.
Oh, I got it.
believe in
I got it. Okay.
Okay.
Shane Dawson has announced an affair with his podcast co-host, Chris B. Station. You can look it up on Instagram. There's multiple drama channels talking about it, and Chris has the latest. Chris? There's not really a toss.
Oh, it's a statement.
I was like, what?
Oh, and we do have a statement from Chris himself. Chris?
What?
Chris, are you cheating with Shane?
Of course, never more than once.
Chris, what was that? You all see how much he is now playing into that flirtation?
Live reactions are pouring into our studio, and Everyone's calling bullshit. No one believes it. And with that, that ends the Shane Dawson Podcast.
Wait.
What?
Oh,
Notice how Ryland doesn't dare play into the joke and just left it saying it's all nonsense. We can tell now it's really getting to you, Ryland. Here's where you messed up, Ryland. And you're lucky I like you, so I'm going to school you in on game. Ryland, your confidence, your self-assuredness, your strength helped get Shane through that cancellation he won't stop talking about. You were exactly what Shane needed at the time. But the one thing you're missing that Shane needs right now is sensitivity. That's what you're lacking, and that's not a bad thing necessarily. However, what you're lacking, Chris has in spades. Not only is Chris attracted to heavier set guys, he's in touch with his emotions. The worst thing you could have ever said to Shane and Chris is what you already said to them.
You guys go outside in the corner and talk for hours. I'll be inside doing my own thing.
Recreate a Brokeback Mountain. Real
Yes,
quick.
barebacking. Whoa, that's you.
I didn't say have fucking sex. I said go talk about your emotions.
Oh,
I see.
Oh, right.
Same for us, baby.
Right.
Same for us, baby.
Right.
The dangerous thing about emotional friends is that there is no sex involved. And because of that, it can be more devastating than a one-night stand. As the series goes on, unfortunately for you, Ryland, we are going to have to use Shane and Chris as our case study.